Let's get to work. Come on.
Welcome to the Master of Trades podcast with your host, Harry Ellison.
Hey, so excited for this week's Master of Trades podcast. I'm here with Mr. Quest Gatlin. Quest and I partner in an organization called Power Up Business Systems, where we help outfit businesses, small to mid-sized businesses, with all the latest and greatest in digital efficiencies. That includes global workforce, AI integration, optimization, automation, all of the above. Yeah. Quest is a brain. This guy is super, super talented, and I'm excited to have him on this week. So welcome to the show, Quest.
Thanks, man. It's good. I'm excited. I'm actually more excited about today's topic because it's definitely kind of a mind blower for a lot of people that are in the startup world, or maybe they've been in business for a while, and this is something that's kind of new to them or they're being introduced to. I'm really excited about today's topic. So glad to be on with you, man.
I am too. And this has been a space I've been so passionate about, and I'm just excited to give to business owners, startups, just people in general. It's such an incredible way to leverage and get back our time and our freedom. So it's awesome. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. So today we're talking about the global workforce, or virtual assistants, or what I like to refer to as virtual accelerators. These would be people in other countries, even other states, right? They could be domestic virtual workforce participants, but my specialty is really globally, looking at other countries, other cultures and demographics that have different skill sets that can very easily integrate into the modern American business. Love that. It's been powerful for me. And man, just being able to bring this to our viewers is incredible.
Love that. No, it's exciting. And I'm discovering really quickly, no one knows more about this than you do. So, man, let's get into it. I'm actually curious, what to kind of kicking off this podcast, when did this click for you in your own journey, business? When was the pivot? Why, when? Like, just unpack that a little bit.
So you're familiar with Bob Ross?
You bet.
Okay, good. He referred to these things as happy accidents.
Love it.
All right, 2020, this was the world's happy accident, was COVID, right? A lot of optimization came out of that, transitioning of, intentions. Everybody had to pivot. In my organization, it was a commercial fitness business, and that business still exists today and is a product of what we're talking about. But man, that business was so heavily impacted. We were based out of California. All of our clients were in California, and California shut down commercial fitness spaces for 18 months. So we pivoted in a few different ways. One of those was the global workforce. So in addition to our clients being shut down, a major problem we had was that California was paying employees more to stay at home than they were to come into work. And so to disincentivize people to come into work was a major problem for us. As we're not even open. We're not generating any revenue. So that's where this idea really came out of. And it was a moment where we had a highly detailed project that needed to be done. It was a calendar transfer from Google Calendar over to a service software.
Got it.
Approximately 1,200 reoccurring appointments, highly intricate process of being able to optimize routes, because these are locations that our technicians, our workforce travels to all throughout Southern California. A lot to consider when you're doing this project. And we had just come off of a 70-hour version of this, and I just looked at my team. I said, there's no way that I'm doing this. I don't care if it's done wrong. I'm not going to do this. So we turned immediately over to a virtual assistant platform where we found some team members there. I said, well, okay, they're $5 an hour. I've heard good things about virtual assistants within marketing spaces and parcel projects.
Yeah.
So I recorded what I didn't know then was an SOP, or a standard operating procedure. It was a 4-hour long SOP.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
That is crazy.
As I was recording it, I was like, this is very thorough. It covers everything I need done.
Yeah.
It has all of the different perspectives and what needs to happen, but it's 4 hours long. There's no way someone's going to be able to pick this up. Long story short, we had 2 people on this project, gave them the SOP. They nailed it within 3 days.
Wow.
I gave them 2 weeks to do it. And by the third day, it was done better than I could have done it.
Wow.
So that was my introduction to that. And immediately the question I asked, if they can do that, what can't they do?
What can't they
do?
Wow.
That's still a question I'm asking today.
Wow.
Because I haven't found the answer. What can't be done globally?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So that was a big shift for you. So, okay. So here you are. You own a service-based company, particularly facing all of the issues surrounding COVID at the time, forced to kind of get innovative, to think out of the box, and you're introduced to the concept of using what we now call virtual accelerators to advance projects. Now, here's what's interesting is I kind of like to dive into the business side of what did that cost versus what it could have cost. And there's a lot that we're going to talk about and unpack, of course, in this podcast and many more. But all that to say, that was your introduction into, oh, holy crap, this is a unique space. This is something we could really lean into. Okay, so if that was the introduction, at what point, where was the shift to? So, like, I've been exposed to your team. I'm a part of your team. It's a huge team of virtual assistants, virtual accelerators. How did you go from, okay, here's 3 that were able to knock this out, to the majority of our team are now VAs?
That's right.
I mean, what was that? What was the, I think, guys, this is the new vision, like the shift in vision and approach to what it is now.
That's good.
What did that look like?
Yeah, so it started with that question, what can't they do?
Yeah.
And I actually at that time moved from California to Texas.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was just piecing it together as we went, but I now understand how full circle it was to offshore and delegate all of our administrative processes overseas, and then also take me out of the picture as the owner, away from the company, being 1,500 miles away. All of this really kind of set the stage for Premier Fitness becoming a digital business organization and operating in the digital marketplace. So, it was that question of what can't they do? And, being an entrepreneur, an opportunist, seeing an opportunity to leverage something highly valuable, we just started to delegate these processes, all of our standard daily processes, not just special projects that this initial project was, but all of our daily processes started outsourcing that. I think the most critical thing that we considered during that time, because I'm very much a people person, like the people that come and work with me are family. I love and I lead our team as I would my children. Like, I will invest in you. I believe in you. I'm loyal to you as I would be with my children. And I want you to grow. So at that time, we obviously had a lot of domestic team members on in our office space. And so the way that I balanced that, I think, is really important, because I didn't look at this as just a zero-sum game where it was, let's go with the cheapest option and offload everybody who's too expensive. This was an opportunity for me to come to my team.
That's interesting.
And cultivate a real sense of love and care for their future and their perspective, wrapping their mind around what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
And to be able to come to them and say, look, everything that you do every day can be done at 75% less the cost. That might sound like bad news for you, because why would I then need you on the team? But the reality is, these are people who have been with me for years and years, that I know, that I love, that I've invested in, that they've been loyal to me, and they've invested in me and the company. Mm-hmm. So, that was an opportunity for me to say, yes, everything you do today no longer needs to be done by you. And it actually can't be done by you. If I know it can be done at a lesser cost and higher efficiency, mm-hmm. that's not a space you can stay at anymore.
Wow.
However, what this is an opportunity for you to do is to increase yourself, level up into new areas of opportunity and value. So I believe in you, you believe in me. What is something else that you can do that's more valuable than everything else you were doing?
Yeah.
And so for a lot of employees, that's a dose of cold water. Like, I've been outsourced, I've been delegated, I've been replaced. What do I do now? But to be guided by genuine, loving leadership is so powerful for businesses to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because as a business owner, that's what we face every day. That's the reality of our existence. When a client says, hey, look, I no longer need you to deliver milk to my door. I can have it door dashed with all my other groceries. Obviously, we've been replaced. And that's a reality we accept. So to be able to share that with our team and contextualize it, not in we no longer need you, which is what our clients do to us. They cancel. Our clients don't guide us into other valuable activities that we could do for them. But this is our opportunity to take our team members and level them up and show them how the marketplace works. Yeah, love and care and guidance.
That's huge. Huge. You're talking about leveling up your current teams. In the initial interest phase for a lot of business owners, we talk to a lot of them where, hey, I've got these 6 staff members. One of them is my daughter-in-law. One of them is my cousin Billy. The other's my mother-in-law. The others, and I don't want to replace them with cheaper labor, though it's tempting. So, you basically answered it before I even asked this question. But for a lot of people, I feel like maybe the initial hesitancy is, I don't want to replace these great domestic people. Some of them are family, et cetera, et cetera. For some people, I think that's a hesitancy with the initial, like, I'm open to this. I don't want to lose who I got. I certainly don't want to replace them. Could you expound just a little bit further on maybe the best approach to say, hey, like you said earlier, it's not about replacing them, it's adding to them. This is about scaling, developing those key players so that you can actually accomplish more and do more. While we're on the phones with people and consulting and communicating with other business owners, this tends to be a recurring theme. I like my team. I'm happy. I want to save money. You got it. I would love to cut overhead staff costs by an average of 70-75%. You bet. But I would have to release my mother-in-law to do that, right? So what you're saying is, well, you don't necessarily have to release your family member, though you could if you felt inclined to do so. Maybe you should.
Mother-in-laws, easily on the chopping block, right?
Notice that was the first one, right? Who made the chopping block. But in all reality, it's like, hey, I love my team. Maybe they're family. Maybe they've been with us for 20. They were founding members of the team. I still want to embrace VAs without losing them. What's your best approach?
Yeah, look, they've already been replaced. They're already obsolete. The kind thing to do is to educate them now before the rubber meets the road. It's an absolute necessity to release them. Because if you don't adopt this way of doing, and this is the story with business throughout all generations, if you don't adopt the next most efficient step, your competition will, and they'll put you out of business. And at that point, everybody goes. Not just mom-in-law.
Yeah.
Like everybody is gone.
The whole ship sinks.
Immediately. Yeah. And so that's the urgency that I'm communicating to business owners now, is that before it's absolutely essential to chop heads, we introduce this as the way of the world. It's already here. We have to do it because competition will, and they'll put us out of business. Yeah. But it's a scarcity mindset that on both sides of the fence either leaves them, I like my team. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to lose them. Let's keep things the way that they keep them the same. It's scarcity mindset. It's let's leave well enough alone until we're eaten by the bigger fish. Yeah. And let's just pray that day won't come. But history always works that out. Yeah. The other side of that is, okay, I'm willing to take that step. Who do I need to fire? Both are scarcity mindset. Both is limited thinking. Both are a tragedy to the human spirit, to employees, and to the employers, and have no place in business. Let's go back to the start when we actually established our business. High risk taking, high effort and energy, high truth. Hey, if this doesn't make money, I can't afford to do this right now because I'm operating with a shoestring budget. There's a lot more risk taking, honesty, willingness to come to terms with our reality. You have to, or else you're not going to sustain the business. At a certain point, business owners get to a point where they plateau, they get comfortable. Yeah. Enough revenue is enough revenue. I'm coasting. My team is
manageable.
Yeah, my team is surviving. We got my brother working here and he's not really producing, but hey, he's here. It's all toxic and it's all limiting everybody. And so, that's the reality of where we're at. So I just say, hey, let's speak truth to them now. Let's get ahead of the curve. Let's encourage them into growth and let's expand. Let's use this as an opportunity to scale, not an opportunity to go to the most inexpensive option.
Yeah. So this is interesting. I think kind of in the beginning, it's like, hey, introduce you getting turned on to this. why it was so impactful for you, and then kind of like, if you were to follow this process out of like, okay, I'm aware of VAs, I understand the importance of it, why it's beneficial. Man, like, how do I go about developing a process of hiring and managing? What does that look like? In our organization, we've got VAs overseeing VAs and layers of it. And so how do I manage that? How can I trust that? I mean, from every level, from executive level, I'm talking logistics, operations, fulfillment, sales.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty impressive. So if you were to walk a business owner through like, hey, I'm just coming on to this, man. So this sounds good. I am interested. I like the idea of cost savings, scaling, expanding. Maybe what would be some of the beginning steps of going, okay, how do I pursue hiring? And then once I've hired, how do I manage a remote team?
Right.
I'm used to Billy coming in with his toolbox and, what does that kind of look like from the beginning stages of hiring and managing?
That's good. You're right. We got a Russian nesting doll situation of VAs.
Yeah.
VAs inside of VAs.
Which is amazing.
VAs. And honestly, we're all VAs, right? So I'm in Dallas, Texas. My office is in Southern California.
Yeah.
I'm a VA. I'm a virtual assistant. And that term virtual assistant is just so underwhelming and inappropriate. The virtual accelerators is family. It's family all around the world, right? So this all comes back to the mindset of the business owner. That's the number one roadblock that we have to handle, whether it's VAs, whether it's sales automation. A new integration into a business always has to pass through the filter of the business owner's mindset. And what you'll find is when there's a new low-hanging fruit of an opportunity, it is only the business owner's mindset that's going to keep it from coming in and actually benefiting the organization. So that scarcity mindset is the game. That is what we need to tackle to have the integration of VAs actually be successful. So, with regards to that, yeah.
I was just going to say, as you're saying that, because I'm thinking about the hiring and the managing. If you don't nip that and deal with that, everything else after that's going to continue to be an issue, and you're going to jump ship because of the other mindsets and things that you have. Then that's huge. Keep going.
It's very important. An expansive mindset, because ultimately, in order to run a domestic, local, physical team or to run an international team, it's all the same. It requires an expansive mindset, the ability to plug leadership into place, departmental leadership, and then to trust that leadership to oversee their respective departments. This is a standard org chart that we're looking at. And for that business owner to release the reins of the way they used to do it, physical, digital, it's a willingness to go into the future with boldness is really what's required. So once we pass that hurdle, we're really looking again at standard business operations. This is not the VA phenomenon really ends there. Now we're just back into good best practice business operations. And we're talking SOP, standard operating procedures for every process and responsibility that has to be done within every department, providing an immense amount of clarity on exactly who does what, when, and how. And then you have KPIs, data that we're monitoring to make sure that each of those positions and responsibilities are hitting the metric that we need hit, and having those key players in place to monitor that. Ultimately, scaled back further, what is that mindset that from owner to entry-level employee, what is that one mindset we want them all to adopt? I call it the 5 M's. It's modeling, mimicking, mastering, multiplying, and monitoring. Did I say monitoring? Let's run that back.
Dude, run it back anyway, because it's so good.
It's the 5 M's.
Yeah.
It's model, mimic, master, multiply, and then monitor.
That's
okay.
huge.
This is the mindset we need the business owner to have. Because we look at John Maxwell's 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. The law of the lid is the most important law, because every other law doesn't matter if that lid is not uncapped. It's the lid of the business owner. The business owner saying, this is the car I drive, this is the way I think, this is your opportunity, your highest level of opportunity, I am your lid. And if you're not representing something that other people want to achieve for themselves, ultimately you're never going to be able to inspire people to grow. So it is modeling successful activities, mimicking those activities, mastering the activity or an activity within the business, then multiplying, then replacing yourself. And this is the piece where most employees feel uncomfortable. It's, what do you mean? Give my responsibilities to somebody else? You don't need me. And the average employee thinks, I'm no longer valuable, when actually the inverse is true. You're the most valuable. Anybody who can replace themselves out of their position is somebody who can scale and clone themselves over and over and over again. And it just breaks my heart actually to see employees, business owners who represent this, they have to stay in the needling details and they refuse to give up and relinquish control to others.
Why? What is that? Like what is that insecurity within a person to be afraid of cloning themselves out of fear of being so easily replaced?
It's scarcity mindset. If I don't continue to run in this hamster wheel, it will stop spinning. Then what? And what am I supposed to do? I want you to need me. Exactly.
Right.
It's a scarcity mindset of this is what I do, this is important, and nobody else can do it.
Yeah.
And those are just lies because you are absolutely replaceable.
Yeah.
If you're off this earth today, somebody else will pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's being able to step out of the hamster wheel and say, what else could I do? Maybe taking a moment and just taking a breath and being free for a moment to look around and actually realize how much opportunity is on the table that you've never actually seen because you've been so hyper-focused on little tasks and responsibilities. So it's that. It starts at the top. And business owners have altogether lost it. Employees don't even know that methodology exists, but it's multiplying yourself out and putting somebody else in there. And that is efficiency, and efficiency is intelligent laziness. And we're here to teach our team, be intelligently lazy.
You're gonna have to dive into that one a little more.
Unpack that
a little bit more, because that's the sauce right there.
This is the sauce. This is how a business owner achieves freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And more importantly, once that business owner achieves freedom, they have a responsibility to share that formula with their team. And how can I help you achieve more freedom in your life too? And this is the formula. And so in everything that we're doing, we're looking to implement systems and metrics and benchmarks and things that are just set in stone to increase efficiency.
Yeah.
And efficiency is intelligent laziness. It's being smart about how we do what we do. We do it every single time this way so that we never have to worry about the outcome.
Guarantee the same outcome.
Always shoots out the same every single time. And so that is so important. And after you multiply yourself out of the process, it's monitoring. And it's monitoring those metrics.
Mm-hmm.
And those two steps are altogether lost with almost all employees. It's almost altogether lost from small, mid-sized businesses. Those owner-operators stay heavily in the trenches, and they don't know how to multiply themselves out. And so that's the essence of trusting somebody 6,000 miles away or 6 feet away, is can you relinquish control and show them how to be successful, doing the things you've already done.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. It's funny because most people don't trust the people 6 feet away, and it's amazing when you unpack and you start having conversations with other business owners of the hang-ups with embracing this new digital era of doing business. You realize that they have more to be concerned about than simply how to hire, fire, manage a remote team. A lot of times, the biggest battleground is in between their ears, and they don't even know it. It's the mentality. It's a scarcity mindset. It's all of these things. And I'm glad you mentioned that because you really do yourself a disservice moving from wanting to implement new things without first addressing the bigger rocks and first addressing some of the bigger things. I've been around you for a long time, and you're huge on mentality. Everything's mentality. It's like I'll talk to you about something, and I'll bring something to you that I think is a big deal, and a process, a system, something that may or may not be broken, somebody that I'm struggling with, or whatever it might be. And you immediately go right to mentality. Like, is that dealt with? Is that so? I think even in this first episode, to be able to spend a little extra time really discussing mentality is a very big deal. For you coming out of 2020, Premier Fitness, making some of those changes, now to see the positive benefits that have taken place in your business, in your company. But what's even cooler to me now is to see other business owners look to you for advice, because now you're on the other end of once having a bad mentality or a scarcity mindset. So people are, Perry, how do I do this? Perry, what's the process? To the point, and we can talk about this now, we can talk about it later, where you finally had to develop your own program, which is called the Power Up method, which we can get into here now or later, or whatever. But
That's right.
The way that people are now approaching you for advice and wisdom on, hey, how do I deal with my mindset on this? Not just SOPs,
Right.
but mentalities. And an SOP with a bad mentality is more like a POS. Let's go, baby.
That's what it is.
Told you. So that's really what it is.
Yeah.
You know, an SOP without a good mentality to start with is just a POS, baby. And so I think that's the truth. And having a bad mentality won't get you any further, whether you have all the best systems in the world. And so if you could begin with analyzing yourself, self-evaluating you, your team. We talk a lot about passion and purpose in business, not just systems and solutions. All of that's important, but the systems and solutions are to deliver a result. Once you get that result, what was the point of the result?
Right.
You know, you set out in business to achieve freedom, right? So let's get back to the mission of freedom.
That's it.
And so people are approaching you quite a bit nowadays, it would appear to be the case. For advice, for structure. And so it's been pretty cool to see you developing this Power Up method and what it looks like. And it'll be fun to discuss this in the podcast to come. And so if you're jumping on for the very first time, I want to encourage you, number one, hit subscribe, hit the bell on this thing. I want to make sure that for those of you tuning in, there's a lot of information coming at you over the weeks ahead that I don't want to fall to the wayside. And so we're going to talk a lot, everything from how to find, how to hire, how to manage remote talent, DAs, et cetera, processes, systems, KPIs. Mentality is so important as we kick off this first podcast.
That's so good. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned you started in business to find freedom. And what you realize, once you achieve freedom for yourself, freedom isn't freedom unless you're creating freedom for others. We've all seen those episodes. There's The Last Man on Earth. There's a famous Twilight Zone episode where there was one left over and he could do anything he wanted. He can go anywhere. He could have anything. But soon you find that you're actually pretty miserable without other people experiencing that freedom with you.
Yeah.
So as a business owner, you can only achieve so much freedom until, if your mentality is right, your heart is right, that you become dissatisfied and seeing other people are achieving freedom as well. And for me, that's the big thing. And so whether you're international or you're an American citizen, like, you're a person and you got to have a heart for people. I think business owners, that's the most important piece is, do you actually care about people? Do you want people to be successful? And the cost savings is just, that's the first part of the value of the international workforce. Yeah. And it's the first and least important, in my opinion. We haven't even gone into the full benefits of a virtual assistant. And it is massive.
We'll get there.
Yep. Love it. Well, this has been so great. Thank you for jumping on. First episode in the books. Virtual assistant. Whoa. Of course.
So much to talk about.
That's right. Stay tuned for the next episodes here. We're going to go deeper into this. My guest, Quest Gallen, has been great today. Thank you for jumping on, Quest.